America, listen closely. Because what I'm about to reveal is not just a story about politics. It is a warning about how Donald Trump tried to silence me, how he tried to erase me, how he tried to call my voice. This is not exaggeration. This is not drama for the cameras. This is reality. And if it could happen to me, it can happen to anyone. Trump did not want debate. He did not want discussion. He wanted destruction. He wanted to bury me under lies, intimidation, and fear. He wanted me gone. He wanted me erased. He wanted me destroyed. And the methods he used should terrify you. Let us begin with the rallies, because Trump's rallies were not just political events, they were weapons. He stood on stage, pointed his finger, and turned crowds into mobs. He shouted my name like a curse. He branded me a traitor, an enemy, a target. And the crowd responded with venom. Do you know what it feels like to hear thousands of voices chanting for your downfall? Do you know what it feels like to see your name turned into a weapon? It is fear. It is isolation. It is the sound of democracy being twisted into intimidation. But Trump did not stop there. He weaponized his followers online. Armies of trolls flooded my accounts with threats, insults, and intimidation. They told me I would pay. They told me I would suffer. They told me I would not survive. And behind every message, behind every threat, was the echo of Trump's voice, urging them on. This was not debate. This was psychological warfare. This was an attempt to cull my credibility, to cull my courage, to cull my very existence in public life. And then came the lies. Trump flooded the airwaves with falsehoods. He twisted my words. He fabricated scandals. He painted me as an enemy of the people. He knew that if he could control the narrative, he could control perception. And perception, in politics, is power. The media, hungry for clicks and ratings, amplified his attacks. Headlines screamed my name in disgrace, even when the stories were baseless. Commentators dissected my every move, not to inform, but to entertain. And in that circus, truth was the first casualty. But lies and intimidation were only the beginning. Trump also used the machinery of power. He leaned on allies in government to investigate me, to harass me, to bury me in bureaucracy. He pressured institutions to question my loyalty, my integrity, my patriotism. He turned the tools of democracy into weapons of suppression. And when that was not enough, he turned to corruption. Deals were struck in back rooms. Promises were made to silence me. Lobbyists whispered, donors threatened, insiders schemed. The swamp was not drained, it was weaponized, and I was the target. Trump wanted me gone. He wanted me erased. He wanted me destroyed. And he believed that if he unleashed enough chaos, if he spread enough lies, if he stoked enough hatred, he could cull me, not with bullets, but with silence. Not with violence, but with erasure. But here is the truth. I survived. I survived because I refused to bow. I survived because I refused to be silent. I survived because I knew that if I fell, if I allowed Trump to kill my voice, then democracy itself would be next. And so I fought back. I fought back with truth. I fought back with courage. I fought back with the belief that the people deserve more than spectacle, more than lies, more than manipulation. Trump tried to cull me politically. He tried to cull me personally. He tried to cull my voice, my credibility, my existence in the public sphere. But he failed. He failed because truth cannot be cowed. He failed because courage cannot be silenced. He failed because democracy, though fragile, is stronger than one man's ambition. Yet let us be clear, the danger remains, because Trump's methods did not vanish with his failure. They remain in the system. They remain in the machinery. They remain in the playbook of those who seek power without accountability. And if we do not confront them, if we do not dismantle them, if we do not expose them, then another will rise. Another will use lies, intimidation, and corruption to call dissent. Another will try to erase voices. Another will try to destroy democracy. That is why I speak tonight, not just to tell my story, but to warn you. Because what Trump tried to do to me, he can try to do to anyone. And if we allow it, if we remain silent, if we accept the spectacle, then democracy itself will be the next victim. This is not just my survival story. This is a survival manual for democracy. And the lesson is clear. We must resist. We must expose. We must fight back. Because Trump tried to kill me. And though I survived, the battle is not over. The battle continues. And the future of democracy depends on whether we are willing to fight. America, I told you how Trump tried to erase me, how he tried to kill my voice, how he turned rallies, lies, and intimidation into weapons. But now, I must reveal the deeper truth, the toll it took, the machinery that enabled it, and the danger it poses to every citizen. Because this is not just about me. This is about you. This is about America. When Trump set his sights on me, it was not just politics. It was personal. The attacks did not stop at the Senate floor. They followed me home. They followed me into my family's life. They followed me into the quiet hours of the night. I remember the fear in my children's eyes when threats arrived at our door. I remember the sleepless nights, wondering if the mob he had unleashed would come for us. I remember the isolation, the whispers, the colleagues who turned away because standing with me meant standing against him. This was not debate. This was psychological warfare. This was an attempt to kill me, not with bullets, but with fear. Not with violence, but with silence. And here is the most terrifying part. The system allowed it. The media, addicted to spectacle, gave him endless airtime. Networks broadcast his every word, his every insult, his every outburst, because outrage sells. Ratings soared, profits climbed, and accountability vanished. The political establishment, too, played its part. Some feared him, some enabled him, some calculated that riding his wave was safer than standing against it. And so, silence became complicity. Cowardice became strategy. And democracy became weaker. Trump thrived in this environment. He understood the game. He knew that division distracted, that chaos concealed, that spectacle overwhelmed. He knew that if he kept the nation in turmoil, if he kept the people fighting, if he kept the headlines burning, he could escape accountability. But let us be clear, this was not accidental. This was deliberate. This was manipulation at its most dangerous. He told the people he was their champion, yet behind closed doors, he served the interests of the wealthy. He told the people he was fighting corruption, yet he surrounded himself with corruption. He told the people he was protecting democracy, yet he undermined democracy at every turn. And the cost? The cost was borne by ordinary Americans, families crushed under rising rents. In 2025, the average rent hit around $950 per month, forcing millions to spend more than a third of their income just to keep a roof overhead. Workers exploited while corporations thrived. The top 1% now control 32% of national wealth, while the bottom half share just 2%. Communities torn apart by division. Hate crimes rose 12% in 2024, fueled by rhetoric and fear. A nation weakened by chaos. Trust in government fell below 25%, the lowest in modern history. Trump's rise was not the story of one man's ambition. It was the story of a system that rewards spectacle, protects corruption, and punishes truth. And so, my friends, we must confront not only Trump, but the machinery that enabled him. We must confront the media that profited from him. We must confront the politicians who protected him. We must confront the corporations that bankrolled him. Because if we do not, then Trump is not the end. He is only the beginning. He is the symptom of a deeper disease, a disease of greed, of corruption, of manipulation. This is the collapse narrative. Collapse does not happen overnight. Collapse is slow. Collapse is silent. Collapse is the moment when families cannot pay rent, when children go hungry, when workers lose hope. Collapse is when a nation looks strong on the outside, but is crumbling on the inside. And under Trump, collapse is already here. Look at healthcare. Trump promised better care, lower costs. But here's the reality. 27 million Americans remain uninsured. Prescription drug prices rose by 15% in 2 years. Medical debt is the leading cause of bankruptcy, affecting over 100 million people. Imagine a father in Texas working full-time, yet unable to afford insulin for his child. Imagine the fear, the helplessness, the anger. That is not greatness. That is survival. Look at education. Trump promised opportunity. But here's the reality. Public school funding has stagnated. Teacher shortages have grown worse, with over 300,000 vacancies nationwide. College tuition continues to rise, leaving students buried in debt averaging $37,000. Imagine a teenager in Michigan dreaming of college, but staring at a tuition bill that feels impossible. Imagine the despair of knowing that dreams are out of reach. That is not greatness. That is failure. Look at safety. Trump promised law and order. But here's the reality. Gun violence reached 48,000 deaths in 2024, the highest ever recorded. Hate crimes rose by 12%, fueled by division and rhetoric. Communities live in fear, not of foreign enemies, but of violence at home. Imagine a mother in Chicago, afraid to let her children play outside. Imagine the constant worry, the sleepless nights, the grief of families torn apart. That is not greatness. That is tragedy. And yet, Trump tells us, America is great again. But America will not be great because of Trump. America will not be great when families cannot afford health care. America will not be great when children cannot afford education. America will not be great when communities live in fear. Here's the suspense. Here's the fear. Here's the hook. Trump's America is not built on solutions. It is built on spectacle. It is built on slogans. It is built on illusions. He wants you to see the rallies. He wants you to hear the chants. He wants you to believe the performance. But behind the performance is failure. Behind the slogans is suffering. Behind the illusion is reality. And reality is this: America is weaker, poorer, sicker, and more divided than before. This is the danger. This is the fear. This is the warning. Trump tried to KO me. He tried to KO my voice. He tried to KO democracy itself. And though I survived, the battle is not over. The battle continues. And the future of America depends on whether we are willing to fight. America, I have told you how Trump tried to erase me, how he tried to call my voice, how he used lies, intimidation, and corruption to silence dissent. I have told you how the system enabled him, how collapse is already here, how families suffer while elites thrive. But now, I must tell you the most important truth. The danger is not over. The danger is growing. And if we do not confront it, America will not just fail to be great. America will fail to survive. Let us begin with history. Because history is a warning. Rome did not fall in a day. It fell when leaders cared more about power than people. It fell when corruption ate away at trust. It fell when division tore society apart. And America, under Trump, is walking the same path. Corruption thrives. Lobbyists and insiders shape policy while ordinary citizens are ignored. Division deepens. Hate crimes rose 12% in 2024, fueled by rhetoric and fear. Illusion distracts. Slogans replace solutions, rallies replace reality, spectacle replaces truth. This is how nations collapse, not with a bang, but with a slow erosion of trust, hope, and unity. And collapse is already visible. Look at the economy. Trump boasts of stock market highs. But who benefits? The top 1% control 32% of national wealth. The bottom 50% share just 2%. Household debt has reached $17 trillion, with credit card debt alone over $1.3 trillion. Families are drowning. Workers are trapped. Children grow up in poverty. This is not greatness. This is collapse. Look at housing. Trump promised prosperity. But here are the facts. The average home price is $420,000. Mortgage rates hover around 7%, locking millions out of ownership. Rent consumes more than 30% of income for half of all renters. Homelessness has surged past 600,000 Americans on any given night. Tent cities spread across Los Angeles, New York, and San Francisco. Families sleep in cars, children sleep in shelters. This is not greatness. This is collapse. Look at healthcare. Trump promised better care. But here is the reality. 27 million Americans remain uninsured. Medical debt is the leading cause of bankruptcy, affecting over 100 million people. Life expectancy has fallen to 76 years, lower than most developed nations. This is not strength. This is collapse. Look at democracy. Trump promised to protect it. But here is the reality. Voting restrictions in multiple states reduced access for millions. Gerrymandering distorted representation. Trust in elections collapsed, with 60% of Americans doubting fairness. This is not democracy. This is collapse. And yet, Trump tells us, America is great again. But America will not be great because of Trump. America will not be great when collapse is hidden behind slogans. America will not be great when failure is disguised as success. America will not be great when survival is sold as prosperity. Now let us talk about the personal toll. Because collapse is not just numbers. Collapse is human. Collapse is the father who cannot afford insulin for his child. Collapse is the mother who skips meals so her children can eat. Collapse is the teenager who dreams of college but sees only debt. Collapse is the family evicted from their home, forced to live in a car. These are not isolated stories. These are millions of stories. Millions of families living in fear. Millions of children growing up in hunger. Millions of workers trapped in jobs that do not pay enough to live. And Trump says, this is greatness. But America will not be great because of Trump. America will not be great when families suffer. America will not be great when children despair. America will not be great when workers lose hope. Here is the suspense. Here is the fear. Here is the hook. Trump's methods did not vanish with his failure to silence me. They remain in the system. They remain in the machinery. They remain in the playbook of those who seek power without accountability. And if we do not confront them, if we do not dismantle them, if we do not expose them, then another will rise. Another will use lies, intimidation, and corruption to cull dissent. Another will try to erase voices. Another will try to destroy democracy. This is the danger. This is the warning. This is the truth. Trump tried to kill me. He tried to kill my voice. He tried to kill democracy itself. And though I survived, the battle is not over. The battle continues, and the future of America depends on whether we are willing to fight. So what must we do? We must reject the illusion. We must confront the corruption. We must reclaim democracy, because greatness is not a slogan. Greatness is not a rally. Greatness is not a man shouting promises. Greatness is families fed. Greatness is children educated. Greatness is workers respected. Greatness is democracy defended, and Trump has given us none of these. So let us be clear, America will not be great because of Trump, but America can be great if we, the people, demand it. The time has come to end the illusion. The time has come to expose the failure. The time has come to declare, with clarity and courage, America will not be great because of Trump, but America can be great. America can be strong. America can be united. America can be free. If we choose truth over lies, if we choose courage over fear, if we choose unity over division, if we choose democracy over corruption, the choice is ours. The time is now. And history will remember whether we stood silent or whether we stood strong.